everyone, and welcome to another scene set in the Chronicles of Darkness, Vampire the Requiem. A Requiem for London. Tonight, we set the scene of Jamie Thomas, neonate of the Invictus. It has been a short time since Jamie last showed up to Black Mass. Unfortunately, it appears the cacophony in the Kindred Rumour Mill has found other things and other people, other kindred to talk about. And the Seneschal has since issued her summons to Miss Thomas. When you rise for the evening, you see that there was a text message left on your phone for you during the day in the evening hours from an unknown number.
I read the text.
Leadenhall Building, 9:30.
I close my... I put the phone away and get dressed and prepared to go out to the place. Perhaps around 8:30ish, maybe 8:45. Want to be early.
You wake up early enough that you find yourself having time to go hunting. Sate the hunger, sate the beast a little bit. Is there a specific place Jamie has in mind? Is there a way in which they prefer to hunt?
Well, perhaps someplace like a club, I guess. Someplace to socialize, to interact, where she can interact properly with other people and perhaps find a perfect prey to feed on.
There is a club, quite popular. It's called the Red Ocean. It's the domain of a kindred called Amber Bramo. She's one of the domain's harpies. It's a great place to meet people, get to socialize with people, make a few friends, or have a one-night stand. It's quite notorious amongst the mortal community for being a veritable den of sin. A lot of deals go down there.
So it seems. Oh, that's the place she's heading to. she'll probably be in a dress. Like in one of her, I guess, favorite colors nowadays. Something black. But a little frills at where her legs are. It reaches down just below the knees.
Okay.
And there's no straps on her shoulder. There are some straps wrapped around her arm.
Okay. You make your way down to the Red Ocean, dressed for the part. The club itself is not particularly evocative. It doesn't seem to have a strict theme to it like a lot of nightclubs do. But it is very modern. Very... well kept would be the wrong word to put it. Perhaps classy. It's not necessarily imaginative, but there's very little to complain about. The rules are fairly lax inside the club. You find it pretty easy to get in. And even just walking in, your kindred senses can hear the elevated breathing and heartbeats of those within the club. A lot of them even more so than normal. You think they might be on something, perhaps. You also sense a fair number of other kindred within the club, their beasts just simmering beneath the surface of their skin. But they pay you relatively little mind. They're here hunting just like you, and there's plenty to go around. Wouldn't be hard to find someone to attach yourself to.
Yes, you would look for someone who's pretty much by themselves. Doesn't matter so much whether they're a girl or boy. All that matters is that there won't be any complications as she tries to seduce them.
Okay. Okay, so, 1 second as I just get up a face clean. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the face claim real quick. How have I lost this? Go. Yeah, you see a guy. He's kind of off on his own, sort of, just sipping a drink on his lonesome. You can see that his heartbeat is relatively bad. What causes him to stick out to you? It's not just the fact that he's separated from the dance floor, but everything about him, from his heart rate to his breathing to his respiration to his body language, everything that your B sees in him, everything that your predatory senses take in, indicates isolation. Easy target. I'll just give you that fair claim. Appears to be a fairly young man with sort of bright ginger hair in their early 20s. There you go. So know what you see.
Okay.
His head sort of jerks up to you as you approach him. Oh, hey.
Hello. I couldn't help but see that you were sitting by yourself. You don't mind if I take a seat over here? And I point to the seat right across from him.
Oh, no, yeah, sure. Cool.
Okay. She begins to grab a strand of her hair and twirls it around her finger and says, "Well, I don't usually do this, but there's something just about you that I had to come up to you to speak. And I don't know. Maybe it's just me."
Oh, nothing special. I'm just having one of those nights.
Hopefully, it's a good night that can become better.
Starting to look up. Gives you a smile. He seems a bit unsure as to how to approach you.
just could I? Uh, my name is Jamie. What's yours?
Miles.
Miles. Wow, certain you can get very far in life with that. And I guess she puts her hand. If his hand's on the table, she puts her hand on top of his. It's like, you see, I'm just wondering, Miles, are you perhaps single?
I mean, I probably wouldn't be here if I wasn't.
Oh, you'd be surprised how many people who aren't turn up to clubs like these. But I had a feeling you seemed like a genuinely good guy. I'm really kind of interested in you and getting to know you, if you'll allow me.
You can sense through your kindred senses his heart rate elevate somewhat. I mean, I certainly couldn't say no.
Well, I, it's like, so Miles, how long have you been here in this city?
Just I just came here to study. I'm getting a PhD. What about yourself?
Oh. Well, I'm just, you know, I've been living here my whole life, and I guess I have been doing the same thing like you, just going by, working where I can, using the skills that I have. Guess you could say I'm a entrepreneur, so to speak.
Cool, that's not an easy thing to pull off.
Yeah, you're telling me. Quite difficult. But I think it's just because I just. I used to have somebody who was beside me, but it's been a few years since then, and I guess seeing you across here, I just. hmm, I don't know. I get the sense that with you, maybe it helps me live this life easier. You know, it's not quite as easy as certain people make it look.
Oh, hey, I'm happy to keep you company if that's what you're looking for.
Hmm. See, I knew I was right about you. But is something I have to do later on, fortunately. So I won't be able to stay with you all night.
Hmm. You sense his breathing and his body language become a bit still for a moment, as if there's a brief moment of consideration. Um,
That's why I kind of was wondering if maybe you wanted to hmm, exchange numbers and maybe we could call each other up every now and then. Get to know each other. And if things go right, continue on from there.
sure, I'd be down. How long you gonna be around tonight?
She checks her watch.
You got a little bit, yeah. You got maybe. You've had an hour to. I think you've got like about 90 minutes or so to feed. Night falls on London suspiciously fast. It's actually something you've noticed upon entering the city. Um, the nights here are quite long, even during the summer. Um, you have quite a leisurely amount of time to go about your business. So you still got about maybe an hour or so. But he'll slip on over to your side of the table. He'll say, would you maybe like to take this to one of the tables upstairs? You know that the booths, a story above you, not on the balcony, but a straight story above you, so on an entirely separate floor, have curtains.
And she, I guess, takes his hand and says, lead the way.
He'll take you he'll take you upper floor. There's another it's not a dance floor on this level, but a sort of bar section in the middle of the whole of a room. All of the booths are a bit larger and have red curtains that one can pull over the booth. He'll lead you over to one of them. He'll offer to buy you a drink.
Sure, love.
He doesn't skimp out. He actually gets you a relatively nice drink. Ask you what you like and asks you what you like and gets you that.
How about... Hmm, I heard these Americans say it, sex on the beach.
He laughs at that and will buy you one of those. But then he'll guide you on over to one of the booths. Takes a swig of his drink. You're not gonna drink yours?
Out of character, she's going to try and fake drink hers.
Make me a manipulation plus subterfuge roll. You can use, if you're so inclined, the Blush of Life. What the Blush of Life allows you to do is to temporarily imbibe regular food and drink. You'll need to vomit it up later before the night's end, but you would be able to consume it. It does cost you a point of vitae, however. And if I recall, you don't have the most blood right now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to take a risk and try and fake it.
Alright.
Three successes.
3 successes. Convincingly fake a drink.
Thank you so much.
No problem. He sort of reaches over to one of the curtains and will just sort of lightly tug on it. It sort of circles around the booth. He doesn't need to pull on it very hard. Do you pull on the other?
Yeah.
When he does, he sits down next to you and wraps his arm around your waist and says, "Do you mind if I get a taste of that?"
Well, come over here.
He'll lean into you. And will go to kiss you.
Go in for a kiss.
You sense his heart rate quicken as he begins to kiss you. You can see that this will be a perfect time to take a bite out of him.
And that's what I'm aiming for.
How much vitae? Well, actually, you got 3 successes, so we'll say you take 3. Normally, you can't take that much vitae from a human safely, but Miles is relatively fit and healthy compared to most mortals. So you're able to eke out a little bit more than him than the average person. And he very quickly gives in to the kiss, as Kindred love to call it. When you're done with him, he's just sort of softly leaning on your shoulder against your neck, and gives it a soft kiss. That was pretty fun.
Yeah. Yes,
How-
it is.
He'll run his hand across your hair and say, "How long you got left?"
Right now, time doesn't matter. But she does try and check her watch while while he's not looking.
Hmm. How long did you draw out the kiss of him?
Hmm?
How long did you draw out the kiss of him?
Hmm?
Like, did you like sort of savor it over the course of like 10 minutes, or did you just sort of steal a bite?
Uh, Savor it.
Okay. Then, you haven't got that much time left. You couldn't. You might be able to stick around a bit longer with him, although you'd be cutting it a little bit close.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was a little bit of a lie. As she is like, oh, gosh. The time is cutting close. But it's like, is she kind of like opens up the curtains? But I promise you, we're going out to eat, you and me. My treat. Miles, don't forget that. You have my number, right?
I'll make time. Don't you worry.
All right. I'll see you around.
He will.
And she.
Oh, what's Jamie going to do? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just basically going to say she's exiting the club. That's pretty much it.
All right. Then you'll leave the club and head on over to the Leadenhall building. It's in the city of London. You can roll me in politics if you'd like, to learn a bit about the area.
Intent in politics?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Two successes.
Okay. So there are a few things that are unique about the City of London on both a mortal and a kindred level. On the mortal side of things, the City of London is considered a distinct entity from the rest of London, due to its history. The City of London, as in the borough itself, has a lot of autonomy compared to the rest of the city, to the point where it has its own mayor. It's largely a ceremonial role, and a lot of time is spent networking as opposed to performing administrative duties. The City of London is also considered the financial capital of the city itself. All the skyscrapers and high-rises are here. All of the big financial institutions and establishments. As well as a lot of old buildings as well. There's the old Guildhall, a lot of old cathedrals. It is very much the heart of London in a lot of ways. On a kindred level, kindred normally can't come to this place. This borough is considered the domain of the king and the queen specifically. They generally do not allow kindred to enter unless they have special permissions from a titled member of the domain, and even then, few titled kindred can give this permission. As a result, few, if any, kindred reside within the City of London. And you believe the reason for this is because it is the heart of London. All the levers of power are here, including the levers over England and the rest of the United Kingdom itself. If a reckless neonate were to get their hands on that, that could be very dangerous for the Masquerade. That said, you have heard of some kindred earning favour from the king and the queen enough so that they might establish themselves here, and you have a lot of reason to believe that a lot of ghouls likely pass through here during the day. It is more than likely that kindred have a lot of assets here, even if they can't visit them themselves. Not without the king and the queen knowing about it, at least. And it is a small borough. It is likely that they would not be hard for them to figure out if somebody had broken into their domain. Fortunately for you, you have been invited here by the Seneschal. And if any titled kindred outside of the king and the queen can give permission for somebody to be here, it would be her. But you definitely have a feeling that you're likely being observed in some capacity. As for the building you're heading to, you're heading to the London Hall building. At one point it was the tallest skyscraper in London, although that has long since passed. It currently rests on the east side of the City of London. So, a fair distance away. But it doesn't take you long to get there. It has a lot of flaws, though. And when you enter, you don't recall the text message you received giving you a floor number. Your phone will buzz again now.
I check my phone.
$31. Oh, sorry, 30. Not 31.
Okay, on to the 30th floor and go.
Takes a hot minute to reach the 30th floor. The building is composed of 45. But when you reach it, you find yourself entering into a large, pristine set of offices.
Good evening.
As you walk throughout them, you can see on the far end there is a large conference room, walled by glass. You can see a familiar looking face waiting for you there.
Here we go. She goes inside.
Just put her up to the there you go. You recognize her as the Seneschal. Although her hair is done up differently this time. It's done up into thick curls. She's also dressed quite differently. She's not dressed in the old, antiquated dress you saw at Black Mass. She is dressed more formally this time. But you cannot open the door quite freely. It's not locked.
If I can't open it, I guess I...
Oh no, it's on.
Oh, it's... Okay, I open the door.
The Seneschal carefully watches you as you approach with a rather dainty-looking smile. When you enter, she stands. You notice a grey metallic suitcase by the side of her chair. Welcome, Lady Thomas. Please close the door and take a seat.
Thank you. And she closes the door and takes the seat.
I have one question for you before we continue this conversation. I don't believe it was answered in your character background. Who is your oath of fealty to?
right?
You can have it to be. You can have it be to the Seneschal if you wish.
Right.
She is a notary of the Invictus, so she could facilitate for that for you quite easily. Or you can let me choose. It's your decision though.
I'll let you choose.
Okay. I'm going to check all the kindred you could have an oath to. 2, 3. Huh. I'm gonna roll a d18. Let's see what you get. Okay. So I'm going to give you the name and face claim of the individual that you have an oath to. It is this gentleman. He is a Daver, and he's quite unlike you. Although he is somewhat older. Unlike a maquette like yourself, he very much enjoys being in the spotlight, but he is quite savvy. Another thing you know about him is that he is a follower of the ancient kindred known as Valerius, who entered Torpor a number of years before you entered the domain.
Interesting.
He also has his hands quite heavily into the media and high society. But the Seneschal, to put you back in the room, will simply say, So how have you been doing? Have you been settling in well?
Yeah, I've been settling in fairly well.
And your lead, she's been treating you well, yes?
Yes, yes.
Would you say he's been kind?
I say he's been fair.
She... roll me wits empathy on that.
What's in a what?
Wits empathy.
Three successes.
Oops, sorry, I completely missed that roll. 3 successes. Okay. So you know the way in which you think when she reacts the way she does, she her eyes tilt off to the side ever so slightly. And although she masks herself quite well, her body language is much harder to read than Miles. Get the impression that she was slightly surprised to hear you say that. Now, in your experience, your leech has never been unfair to you. In fact, he's very approachable. They often are. But he's never been particularly exploitative. That is good to hear.
Yes?
It was a shame that we met on such unfortunate terms.
Yes, and I must apologize for that.
Ensure it does not happen again.
Certainly, it will never come up again.
My lords have been taking a much stricter stance as of late. I would not wish you to see the fate of Mr. Goodman.
Understandable.
You've yet to fully explore your potential, which is what I summoned you here to discuss. I have heard that You like to network.
Yeah. It helps me get what I need using my set of skills.
You aren't the only one of your blood that does so, although I must admit, it is uncommon. And I'd like to see it encouraged. She will pick up the suitcase and she will put it on the table. She will unlock it with a relatively simple numeric password, and it'll open up. There is a significant amount of money inside of the suitcase. All £50 notes. It has been some time since you became an Invictus. Or at least that is what my sources tell me. I would like to see you put to the test. You wish to be a lord amongst the kindred. She gestures to the suitcase. And first, you must prove in your capacity to rule amongst mortals.
Understand?
Inside that case is £100,000. I would like to see that amount doubled by the end of the month.
Alright. Take up that challenge. I won't bow.
Good. The Unconquered are not renowned for their failings, or else we would not be named as such. I'm sure one is interconnected and as knowledgeable as one of your blood should have no problem finding the means to meet this task.
I will certainly find a way. Even if nobody else can.
We'll have our talents. But this, I believe, should meet your skill sets quite nicely. And I do not misjudge. So I look forward to your success, and I look forward to hearing of it.
I look forward not to disappoint you.
And when you next meet Master Horton, please send him my regards.
You will?
Is there anything else you would like to discuss with me while you are here? It is a rare privilege, after all. I would not wish to see you waste it. Particularly as one of our own.
Well, I suppose while I'm out here for the month, is there any particular places I should perhaps be wary of? Avoid?
She doesn't roll her eyes, but you can feel it. As a member of our fine establishment, I would recommend you avoid the Carthian territories on the west side of the domain. They claim to be at peace, but needless to say, they posture against us. She shrugs, non-committally. But that is the dance macabre. I would expect you to know this. Can make me a wits empathy check if you like. Or maybe a wits socialize would be better. One of the two. Sorry, one or the other.
Three successes.
Okay. Okay. Know that the Seneschal Grimald is quite old. And that elders tend to rarely say things without a purpose. And you got the sensation that, well, when you asked your prior question, although she clearly approached you with anything I can do to help, she clearly viewed your question as not worth her time. You think she's looking for you to ask her something specific. Maybe...
Is there any business in which you would like this money to be turned out from?
It is yours to do with as you wish. But to finish my the results of your check. You think she's trying to push you to take some initiative. Which isn't all that common for a ruling kindred that likes the status quo, but perhaps it is because you're a sect mate that she wishes to see you go above and beyond. You think she, from what you've gathered in your conversation, she seems to have expectations of Invictus kindred. And she seems to be imposing them onto you. You think she's either trying to get you to take some initiative, gauge your real goals in this domain, or both. Of course, you don't need to ask her anything.
While I'm doing this task, is there any other events you might want taken care of? I think that just might be convenient if I do it alongside this mission.
She will give you a smile. I appreciate the offer, Miss Thomas, although there's nothing at this point in time, but given that you have volunteered, I shall take note of it for you. Oh, sorry, I shall take note of your offer.
Suppose there's just one last question.
Of course.
Perhaps I desire to move up within this within Invictus. What would you recommend would be a suitable way to go?
Her smile takes a slightly dark undertone. She will rise up from her seat and walk on around the table over to you. One of her hands sort of slides across the rim of the table as she does so. There are many ways to climb the tower. But it is through the oaths we make to each other that the path is forged. Through the bonds of loyalty that we have to each other that no other sect possesses. In other words, it is through your liege's success that you shall succeed. And through my success as your elder, that you would succeed.
I understand. Thank you for your time.
I would never make such a bold claim or demand, perhaps it'd be more appropriate, is to say that you should trust me or your liege. However kind to you that he is. And I imagine so. But our oaths are very much a reinforcement of the second tradition, of the progeny, in a sense. Our successes reflect on those that lead us, and vice versa.
I see.
It is through such patience and loyalty that I am in the position that you now see me in, that I now stand before you here tonight.
And I suppose I must also do my best to present loyalty.
Speaking of that, it does cause you to realize something, even though you've just fed just about half an hour ago now, or longer even. You still feel hungry. It's strange. It's like something gnawing at the back of your head. Looking at the Seneschal makes you feel quite thirsty. Looking at her wrist specifically, her neck. Part of you just wants to drink. And it's something that Jamie begins to notice. That sensation's been there for a little bit now, but she's beginning to realize what that means and what she wants.
I guess Jamie would begin to stand slowly. And grab the beakers and say, I, I suppose this is one of the first steps to showing and proving this loyalty. I will. You.
Loyalty to myself is a surefire way to climb the tower. Miss Thomas, may I call you Jamie?
You may.
Very good. Do as I ask, and I will see you tested further. I wish to see what you are capable of, Jamie. And I wish to see you rewarded for your efforts in due time. Consider it an olive branch of sorts for the events that occurred at Mass the other night.
I thank you yet again.
Well then, I wish you well in your endeavours, Jamie. And she'll place her hand on your shoulder, and her other hand will gesture to the door. For the briefest of moments, you envision yourself sinking your fangs into her exposed arm.
I'll be through.
Very good. Then have a pleasant evening.
May you as well, and many more to come.
And I assume Jamie leaves. The door is quite quiet. It barely makes a sound as you walk out the door. As you walk away from the Seneschal, you find your fists clenching slightly. And yourself fidgeting. And on a short fuse, and you have this sinking feeling. It feels like it's going to get worse. And it does. You're going to gain the deprived condition because you have not met your vitae addiction. And you turned down an opportunity to take it. The deprived condition removes one from your stamina, resolve, and composure pools. Although it does not influence traits derived from them, so you don't lose a health level, for example. you can resolve this condition by either at some point meeting your addiction or finding a way to kick it. But as of right now, Jamie is perhaps not in the best place. Perhaps taking blood from Bagman was not the best decision in hindsight.
Certainly wasn't.
But in good news, you do have a text message from Miles.
What does this say?
Says, was a fun night, meet up again in a few days? Question mark.
Sure, I might have something to do during the daytime, but we can meet at night. In the evening. No, I might have something to do in the morning, so we can meet later at the evening. That's what I said.
Alright. And then as you finish off that text message, try and put your sense of frustration and emptiness to the back of your mind. I think we'll end the scene there. Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Bye bye.